we took a little quick break, and now we're back. We were talking about the keyboards, and the keyboards. It's just you mix things the way you think it tastefully sounds good, and you mix things based off of the spirit you want things to be. And there's no right or wrong. Always remember this. There's no right or wrong in mixing. Like, I think one thing that I learned from when you guys did when people mixed the Motorhead songs and they remixed the Motorhead song that I did. I wish some people would have taken it further and been more extreme with like, hey, I'm really going to try something weird and crazy, because what I'm doing with this Aquabats is a little different. I'm trying to recreate something that exists as opposed to make it weird and funky. And I think it'd be interesting if people try to go extreme with other routes. Now, you look at the drums and stuff, and nowadays we add samples to all the drums and trigger and all that kind of stuff. You notice that I'm not adding samples and triggers because it sounded good the way it was. And if I were to put a kick drum or a snare drum sample on there, I think you'd lose the spirit of what this was. And when we finish this and you listen to it all together, you're going to say, hey, you know what? This actually sounds cool. Is it perfect? Does it sound like, is it the biggest thing on the radio? It doesn't matter. It's a song, it's music. And not everything should be the same. Not every heavy metal record or whatever record you're doing, like, diversity is good. And it's like, to me, some of the most interesting mixes that I hear are the ones that are so different or they're so extreme that they make it more interesting. So like I said, do I always go extreme and different? No, but occasionally I do. I try tricks and I try things. And if the artist embraces it, it's great. And if they don't want it, well, then you rail it back and you focus on what the artist is searching for. Let's jump into what's next. It looks like we've got the horn section. Horn section, you can tell there's a sax and two trumpets. I believe they played it all in the same room together. And the reason why I guess that is I solo it. It's awesome. You could tell they all played it because you can hear the trumpet in the sax mic. They were probably all standing in front together, and they were oh no.
What?
I got a guest here.
Hey, how's it going?
What's up?
What's up, Cameron?
What's up, buddy?
Yeah, right on.
I'd like to introduce you.
What's up, everybody?
What should I call you?
I'm the Bat Commander.
I call him
Maybe
Bat
you've heard of
Commander?
me. The MC Bat Commander, the Aquabats. That's me right over there.
If you look at the picture, there you go. Oh, there he is.
That was before I became a man, actually.
Does he need a microphone?
Nah, I'll just
He's
talk
good?
loud.
Okay, just talk loud.
Yeah.
It's good to see you.
Hey, good to see you, Cameron. How come you're not wearing the lab coat I gave you?
I didn't bring a lab coat.
Good thing I brought an extra one.
Oh, you did? Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Put it on, bro.
So normally when we mix,
We're
there's-
remixing the album, right?
no, just one song.
All right.
Sup-
Attacked by snakes?
No.
Super rad. Okay.
Oh, super.
All right, we can do that.
Okay, let's put the coats on.
Okay.
It's kind of hot.
I don't need a coat.
No, you don't. You look good.
Just in case there's any emergencies, I can better in this. These aren't underoos, bro.
Sometimes there are emergencies when
These
we're in
aren't
here.
jammies.
There's not jammies. They're not
This
jammies.
is an action suit.
Should we have a seat?
Yeah,
so
let's
you
sit down now.
so you don't over action out?
Cool. I got some ideas, Cameron. Oh, hold on. I'll be right back.
Hold on. Let me explain why he's here. He can go do your thing.
All right,
Your ideas. Okay.
I have some I bought some equipment for this remix.
Okay. So basically, when you're mixing, the most important thing, besides all this mixing, is the band. And this is obviously the Bat Commander. Christian Jacobs is his name, and it's his vision, it's his band, it's his music. So
Yeah.
what we need to do is we need to do what he wants to get his vision through. So
That's right. Whatever I want.
we're in the middle of our mix, but we're gonna jump to an overall listening. We're gonna let him listen, and we're gonna let him.
Did we get it on camera that you said you're going to do whatever I want?
Wait,
Because that doesn't usually happen when we make records together. Just saying.
no, we always do what you want.
Oh, I'm the producer. You do what I say.
When did I tell you that?
Every time we do a
Okay,
record.
okay.
Well, Cameron,
But
I got
I-
some ideas. I got some ideas because
Okay.
in 1997, when Super Rad came out on the record, The Fury of the Aquabats,
Okay.
okay, It was only played on a few radio stations because a lot of radio stations were afraid of it.
Name one of those radio stations.
KROQ.
No way.
In Los Angeles.
Really?
They picked it up and it was in hot rotation.
One of the best radio stations in the
for-
world, right?
For weeks. Maybe,
For
maybe 3.
3 weeks or days.
The point is, it never got its due because people just were afraid at that time, you know?
Yep.
It's like this new style of music, the Aquabats, came out and people were just terrified by it. They saw our costume. They heard the song. They're like, that's a pretty cool song.
Yeah, yeah.
And they saw who we are, and they were like, I don't know. We can't go there.
They just weren't. They couldn't dive
so
in.
I'm just thinking if we put a new spin on it now in this day and age, we put
Okay.
a new sound to it. We make it a whole new thing out of what we already have.
So as a producer,
We can make the song into the hit that it was always meant to be.
Okay. And my job as a mixer, right now as a mixer, not as a producer, is to make him happy
That's right.
and to try anything he wants to try
Booyah.
to a point.
That's right.
So what do you got there?
Well, so first things first.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I brought some new sounds.
You realize we're mixing? We're not tracking?
We can't track some extra stuff into the mix.
We're trying to
Well,
recreate
part of
what we
mixing is you
did.
track and then you mix.
Right.
Well,
No,
I
wrong.
figured we could just add some new drum sounds. Like,
Maybe can you play along and let's see how it sounds when you play
okay,
it together.
let me turn it up. A little
Okay,
bit.
yeah, crank that thing. Ready? So this is the song. You're killing it.
Hold on, let me get it. First try. Come on. All right, so it's not working. But what we can do is because okay, so the guy that played the drums on this song,
Yeah, who's that?
I can't remember his name. He
Mm,
left the
Tarker,
band,
Narker.
He left the band for some other band called Turk 182.
Okay.
No, Blink 182.
Oh, Blink-182.
Trevor Parker.
What? What's not Trevor Parker?
Travis. Our old pal Travis played, and he's pretty good drummer.
Oh, pretty good. Yeah.
But at the time, the whole 311 popcorn snare thing was going off,
Okay.
and Travis would not go for a traditional
Oh, and you wouldn't.
snare sound.
Right.
He wanted that popcorn thing to pop. Like that Brad Hexton from 411.
Sexton or
Oh, yeah,
or
Chad Sexton.
Okay.
That was kind of a cool thing in 1997.
But
Listening back now, you think, hey, that sounds like the 90s. Which we figured at the time, but it was hard to argue with Travis because
right.
he was a gangster.
But maybe he was an innovator. And if you look back at this
I'm just
record.
saying, what if we replaced the popcorn snare with a digital snare? Look, every time that's a perfect snare sound. Look, perfect. Right?
That would be awful. That would be completely awful.
No, Cameron.
We would lose the
You
spirit.
do what I want to do.
No, but I work. My goal is to control
Take
you.
that, Travis.
No.
Perfect drums.
But these are perfect drums
Just
already.
kidding, Travis. You're out.
We already have perfect drums.
Actually, there is kind of a
It's kind of a groove.
Yeah.
What if
Take your sound on there.
wait, it's sounding better.
I can't really hear the popcorn too good.
It sounds better now.
Wow, it's getting really good.
The louder I go.
Just turning it up.
Yeah, wow.
Wow.
I'm not just turning it up.
That sounds terrible. I can't hear anything.
No, I'm not turning it. It's just I'm just mixing it
All
up.
right. Well, let's put this.
We'll think about
we'll
that.
sidebar this.
Just for a moment. Yeah, we'll come back to it.
Just saying.
That could
We're practicing.
could that be the new lead?
Could be. I think we should put a keyboard solo in there. People love keyboard solos. Just ask the Chemical Brothers.
But remember, we're trying to recreate something that already existed.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is it's already existed, but I want to be current, like bands like The Prodigy or Chemical Brothers, Fatboy Slim.
But-
all those EDM bands are huge right now.
You
I
know
want to get in on some of that.
Do you know what year it is right now, Christian?
1991.
What up?
The year 2018.
17.
I just figure, if we could add some more of that electronic dance, maybe some of that trap stuff, that's all.
Yeah. Okay. What about like this is kind of that way?
That's true.
There you go.
That sounds so cool.
Who uses the
Wow.
Farfisa? Who uses the Farfisa now?
Nobody. Wow, cutting
See,
edge.
you're cutting edge. You always were.
Love it.
So
Maybe
maybe
just
the
isolate those drums real quick, and let's just do a drum competition, okay?
okay.
Travis's drums versus the
So-
Casio.
So what I'll do is,
Cutting edge.
do you want Travis to go first, or I'll drop him in and out?
Let's just listen to it, okay?
Okay,
Let's
so
let the kids
listen.
at home listen.
How about I mute drums out?
I want to hear the drums. Yeah,
Just drums.
just drums.
Not bad.
Pretty good.
Yeah. Think you can beat
bad.
it?
We'd have to lay each one down separately.
Christian, that sounds like torture.
What about this? Let's just do this song.
Wrong tempo. It won't work. It won't work.
Right.
That'll be on the next record.
I can't do it. I can't go that fast.
So
We'll just have to do.
I-
Can't we use like Pro Tools Magic or something? Just lay in one, and we can just like click, drag, click, drag, click, drag, click, drag. I read a book.
yeah. Yeah, it's called Pro Tools Danger. Is what that's called. Danger.
That's true.
Straight to.
But I'm just saying, in the day and age of bands like,
What do you?
all those bands that are big, like
The.
Chemical Brothers.
Taylor Swift.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just like that.
Radiohead.
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 How about
Super Radiohead?
what if we keep mixing and we bring this back in later?
Okay, we'll bring it
Okay,
back.
you
Okay,
keep
so
it over there,
here's
or should I
what-
keep it over here?
Let's keep it over here.
Yeah, let's keep
So
it.
here's my other idea. Okay.
You've got another idea. Oh, great.
So there's this
Wonderful.
new song I just heard on the radio. It was by this band called Cher.
Oh,
Okay. And she was going off. I don't know how they did it. So I read a book.
okay.
She was like, "Do you believe in love of the Lord?" But her voice sounded like this crazy alien robot angel. Do you know what I'm saying?
I think.
So I read a few things on the interweb,
Okay.
and I found this bad boy right here.
An Antares ATR1.
That's right. This, my friend, is called a vocorder.
No, it's called the Auto Tuner.
Auto tuner. That's what I meant.
Okay, so Christian, where did you?
Where
where did
an
you?
auto tuner?
Okay.
So here's what you do. What they use this for is when people can't sing, they sing into this, and it corrects the notes perfectly.
You're kidding me.
Which I don't need to do because I already sing perfectly.
Okay.
But the point is, if you crank it all the way up,
Yeah.
it creates this weird robot noise.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Because the computer's like,
So
it's like peaking, like, I don't know what to do. But it makes this alien voice.
So you think?
And that's how Cher sold 1 million records.
So you think if we
just
put?
through this.
if
And
we-
guess how much it only cost? $1,000.
Oh, where did you get that?
I bought it in a parking lot from some guy at Guitar Center.
Really?
Yeah.
It's really interesting. Like I don't remember him looking like this. Like with the tape and all. This is. Are you sure this is what it was?
Yeah, dude, he told me this was the auto tuner. Vocorder Antilles.
Well, you know how the
Antares.
you know how the Aquabats are into magic.
Yes.
So I have this magic trick where I can get this.
Yeah, can we just plug that into
We
your
can
board
plug
real
it in
quick?
there, yeah, so let me
Just
plug-
like a cartridge, like
let me-
Nintendo.
let
Yeah,
me
you
plug
can
it.
just
See,
plug it in.
we just go. Yeah.
Wait, hold on a minute. You always gotta do this before you plug the cartridge in.
Otherwise, it glitches.
It just doesn't work.
So we plug it in down here, right?
Yeah,
Right.
okay.
And then and then and then what we do is we go up here. And,
Uh-huh.
and I'm gonna turn it on.
Oh, let me
And-
hear it.
Oh, there it is.
Wow,
I just
oh,
turned it
that's
on.
cool.
So maybe we should.
It's cool how you plugged it in down there and then it appears up there.
I
on the
know.
computer.
It's like Aquabats magic. It's a new.
Warren, have you seen this? It's pretty neat.
he-
Hey guys, sorry I didn't bring you all lab coats. The other ones are at the cleaners. This one isn't washed.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I hope Matt Gordy was wearing it.
I was like, what's that gamey smell? It
Oh,
can't be the cartridge. It's camera.
I'm sorry. I apologize. Excellent.
Okay. Anyway, so I figured if we could put some of that auto tune, like extreme auto tune, on Super Rad,
It would.
maybe
You could
that
sell 1 million
could
records.
Sell us 1 million records.
That's probably right.
Because money's the only thing that matters
when making records.
when you're making records.
When you're making records. That's well, hey, I got it on here. Look, what do you say we give it a
The
shot?
only reason you make records is to make money, right?
Right, of
Yeah,
course. To make
that's the only-
millions,
it's
just not money, millions of dollars.
Millions. Of
Maybe
dollars,
more.
Millions.
Billions,
right.
possibly, if you can.
Okay, let's pace ourselves.
Pace ourselves. Okay.
All right, here we go.
Let's
So let's add
I've got
that-
a small friend who has a fat friend
There
who
it
had
is.
a big friend who gave
What?
birth to many friends with our flashlights to the
See, right
sky.
here I'm kind of rapping.
We waited
let's,
for them
let's
to
go forward
land.
to the chorus.
Okay,
where I'm
okay,
kind
I've
of
got
okay.
two
singing.
tall friends who know my small
This is where I'm
friend
hip-hop.
who seem to have
Okay, okay.
Oh, so what-
away. Here we go. We're gonna take over.
Yeah.
Set it off
Oh, sweet.
one last
Wait.
time.
Isn't
Here
it-
we come again. All systems go.
But
Soon the world will know.
Okay,
The
two
fury
chains
of
right
attack.
there. That's 2 Chainz. That's like Cher.
but don't you think
They
it,
have so much in common.
don't you think there's bad notes though when I do that?
It doesn't matter.
It-
Okay, so here's what I
Away.
wanna do.
Here we go.
No,
Let's isolate that.
Okay.
And then let's put a hip hop beat in there, and then then we'll just put it out like
with your drum machine.
just the vocals and a hip hop beat. Well, don't you have the hip hop button?
But-
on
but-
here?
but-
Just push hip-hop. Let me get a Dr. Dre.
It's right here. It's right there. That one right there.
Come on, you know what I'm talking about.
You think, Christian? Do you think? I mean, back commander. You think I just press a button and it just magically appears, right?
My name is the back.
I mean, Mr.
Yes. No, you wiggle the mouse thing and then push the click.
But I thought we were mixing. I didn't know. Remember, we're not recording anymore.
I'm here to make a new song
Oh.
because just mixing it's not going to do anything.
It's not fun for you,
You
is
got
it?
to add some more sprinkles on the cupcake.
What about this auto tune when it actually plays with a song?
Let's hear it.
Here we go. We're gonna take over. Set it off one last time. Here we come again. All systems go. Soon the world will know. The fury of attack.
It is a new thing. Yeah. I don't know if it's good though.
Yeah, I know. Come on.
All systems go. Soon the world will know. The fury of attack. Feel the wrath of the super rat, super rat, super rat, super rat.
And you like the new key?
It has to work though. Here, push pause, push pause. I know because when Travis first left the Aquabats and he joined the Blink-182s,
Yep.
they used these things live.
Really?
Auto-tuners live.
No way.
Yeah, I swear. I have video footage of it.
So that's why they're
I
successful.
pushed record on my VCR, recorded them on MTV. They were singing into an auto-tuner live. That's why they made millions of dollars.
And that's why you didn't.
That's why I didn't.
So we should have.
And we should have been auto-tuning the crud out of this the whole time.
So if we auto tune this and send it to K Rock, they're gonna
They-
play
they
it. Then
will.
They'll
they
just
must.
play it,
Or-
right?
Or K-Day.
Okay, Dave.
Or KRIP. I mean K-Earth 101.
Oh.
K-Earth 101! Yeah, you know what's
And they still have
interesting
it?
is K-Earth 101 is still around, but they play just songs from the 80s. Guess what comes after the 80s? The 90s. So in 3
They'll play
years,
you.
they'll
Oh.
be playing this auto-tuned hit from the 90s on K-Earth 101.
Because you're gonna it's a
That-
reissue
it's
and they're
a
gonna send
reissue,
it.
That's right.
But they wouldn't play the original one.
They might play the original one.
But probably not because there's no auto tune.
Yeah, and because no one likes our band.
Okay. But that can be trouble too.
Hey,
But I think people like your band. I went and saw
there
you.
are a few people.
There, I
There's a
saw
few people.
2,000 people there.
The chosen few. That's right.
So
They're
what?
The last of the good taste on the earth.
You haven't actually listened to the song yet. Maybe you should listen and
All right, let's
and,
take a
and,
listen.
and see how this mix
Let's
is
take a listen with what you've done,
with what I've done. Oh no.
and then we'll add in what I'm here to do. I'm not smelling this. Sounds a little beefier.
a little bit. That was the goal.
Listen to those horns. Maybe you need to auto-tune those a little
No, but Christian has a
Yes.
good point there. We're gonna get.
You mean the commander?
I mean, the commander has a good
Jeez.
point here.
Who's
Like,
this Christian guy you keep talking about?
so think about this, and this commander I talked about earlier. We talked about horns,
the
and we
Bat
talked
commander.
we talked about different styles, and when you talk about the Aquabats, a lot of times they've been lumped in as a ska band, but over the
Yeah, and
years,
usually you're talking trash when talking about the Aquabats. I know who you are.
so as they've grown over the years, there's been less ska elements, but there's still the spirit of what it is. And when Christian and I talked about this record, The Fury, this Fury is not really a ska record. It has songs where you
Yeah.
go to Cat with Two Heads.
Right, and one of
And-
one of the reasons being is because of Travis, our drummer at the time,
Right.
was very adept at playing different styles of music.
That's what I'm trying to get
Because
at.
he could play, there has a song on there that's kind of like flamenco. There's Latin beats on there. There's punk. There's rock. There's all kinds of different beats. And FYI, ska is a beat. It's not a horns. Ska was a beat that they played under jazz,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so there would be horns on top of that, the jazz element of the ska. But ska is actually the beat.
And yep. And what I think is important about this record is there was a lot of that diversity in
so
styles.
yeah,
And-
technically, Super Rad, the beat is more of a rock beat.
Yep.
Boom, 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 boom. Right,
Mhm.
the kick on the ground.
Yep.
But then there's up, 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 and horns, and which people are like, oh, that's ska. But,
Right, right.
You know,
Yeah.
elements of such
Yeah,
things
yes.
are in there. There's
And-
all kinds of things in this record.
And what I was trying to say is I think the Aquabats transcended and lasted longer because they had diversity and they weren't just stuck in this one little box
Yeah.
of ways to do things.
And our good looks.
And, and of course the good looks. But one thing we talked about was horns. And are the horns perfectly in tune? Are they like 100% perfect on this recording?
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah. And is that a problem? No,
It
because
was pre-auto-tune.
it was pre-auto
Yeah,
tune. So
it was like the
could,
year before.
so we couldn't do
We
it.
were so ahead of our time.
It was too expensive. You didn't have $1,000.
That's right. We did.
Look, they're only paying
That's how much the record cost to make.
they're only paying $10
Yeah.
for you to play.
That's right, and we just recouped.
Yes.
Just barely.
But-
Yeah, we
But-
had. Look at this show right here. Aquabats, Mosleys, Moon Monkeys, Immortals, My Superheroes. 5 bands for $10.
At a movie theater.
Who made money?
Nobody. How many people showed up?
Oh, it was packed. It was sold out. That was a sold out show.
Yeah, 100 people?
Mesa Theater.
300?
I think it was like
500?
oh, yeah,
700?
I don't remember.
700,000. Okay.
I don't deal with that.
Yeah.
I just fight bad guys. And
I,
say,
the point I'm trying to get at is
Yes.
they were less focused on this perfect sort of sound and more on a spirit and different styles and with that, like you talk about jazz and things like that, it's more about the feeling that you get and the emotion you get from this.
Right. And there's a lot, there was early bands like The Damned, which, when they came out, punk was really big in the England areas. But a lot of bands, came to rely on a lot of distortion
Mhm.
to define what punk was. It's like, hey, there's nothing more punk than this pedal that I plug into my guitar. But there's bands like The Damned where you listen to their early records, they just turn up their amps loud and use natural distortion. They didn't use pedals or things like that. And we tried to do that on this record. There's not a ton of real, I guess not real, but yeah, it's just amps and turn them up loud. There's a lot of songs on here that don't use any distortion.
Yeah.
And we were really that was a big deal to us at the time. And then, of course, that was the dawn of pop punk becoming like Walmart,
Yep.
And the record label, everyone was like, you guys got to use more distortion. And we just
And-
didn't want to do it.
And when I met you, we basically, I said, hey, let's plug in this big
Yeah, and we
Marshall.
said no,
And
right?
you kept telling me no. And you would bring in this super reverb. And I'd say, what is that? Let's get some pedals on there.
That's right, because
And
everyone
you would take
was
them
doing
away.
that, and we wanted to do the other thing.
And that, and
Everyone was like combing their hair, and we put on wigs that look like we're bald.
and you,
We just wanted to do the other thing that no one was doing.
and the important thing about that is we used to fight about it, but I would let them do that. And that's important in letting these guys be artists and do what they want to do. Because if I just made them all distorted, we would have been Sum 41, we would have been Simple Plan or Real Big
Slap Rock.
Fish or whatever.
Yeah.
Slap Rock, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, that other band
Yeah.
that had the ska hit.
Yes.
Yes.
Uh,
Anyway, it was kind of a thing, but we didn't really want to be known per se as a ska band, but there were elements of that in the music that we did.
Yeah.
But it was more just to have a fun party and entertain people.
Yeah.
And now I work at a car wash.
Christian, you don't work at a car wash.
You mean Commander?
Commander, you don't work at a car wash.
Cameron!
sorry.
Commander.
Let's,
Don't tell me my real name.
you know what's fun is what I saw on one of these track sheets is I saw lyrics for this. And
Yeah,
I want,
there are lyrics actually. I
So-
wrote them down.
these would have just been on the back of track sheet, but
I tried to freestyle it, but it didn't work.
where's it?
Hold on. Let me break these bad boys out. Ah, there you go.
There's a lyric from Super.
Now I know what you're
there-
using. Glasses.
There's a lyric on Super Rad from here.
Oh, this
so I
is
want-
Story of Nothing. Once
Okay.
upon a time, she was fine.
right.
Yeah. Look at this. These are actually the lyrics that I wrote when we were recording. them.
I know.
That's kind of ridiculous.
I got a small
What's that?
friend who had a fatty friend.
Oh yeah.
So when you listen to the
But I
lyrics,
cut off the fat T because
Yeah.
it was one too many syllables.
I got a small friend who has a fat friend who had a big friend.
Who gave birth to many friends. It doesn't make any sense.
but that's the fun thing about recording with tape. Like this is just
Right.
the paper that was sitting around, and this is what we
Yeah,
created.
and I remember Super Rad and Story of Nothing, which the lyrics, those are like, excuse me. I saw I work at a car wash. I also eat there. The chili just gets right to me.
I'm sure it does.
Car wash chili.
I can tell.
Sorry.
Um,
The bathroom earlier.
yes, I know. Just kidding.
No, you're not.
That-
Anyway. Yeah, there was the last two songs we did, and I remember we didn't have titles for them. We didn't know what they were going to be.
What was
but
this
we
song
just had
called?
The music. So a lot of times when you record a record, you go in there with the song in full, and a lot of times with the Aquabats, we have the music all done except for the lyrics. Because I'm busy. I work at a car wash. And I got things to do. So we do that last. Not always. Sometimes we have a full song and we record it.
Mhm.
But a lot of times, as Cameron has known throughout the years recording with the Aquabats, sometimes we have just a music, like a verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, and we've got this
Yep.
the song laid out, but we don't have the lyrics. So Super Rad was actually one of the last songs we recorded in 1997 on this record.
Yeah.
And we didn't even know it was called. It was called Super Rad at the very last minute. So
So
interestingly enough,
When
and
you-
it wasn't slotted to be a single either because no one knew what it was. Like because we hadn't defined it with lyrics or melodies or anything. So after we were done, then
Golden Voice.
Golden Voice was like, I
chose.
think this is the one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they went and did something called Coachella, and then we got jobs at the car wash.
And they were a little bit successful, I hear.
Best car wash in LA.
so
LA.
so you recorded this at Paramount Studios, is that
That's
correct?
right, Paramount Studios on Santa
Santa
Monica
Monica
Boulevard and Vine. That's
yes,
right.
Yes,
right
next to the Army
surplus
Surplus store.
Yeah.
Yes, I know where it is.
You know that Army Surplus
I
store?
did Motorhead records there.
Interestingly enough, is where Devo first bought their yellow
I didn't know that.
suits. Did you know that?
No, I did not
Talk
know
to
that.
Mark Mothersbaugh about that.
That's awesome.
I got a small friend who has a fat.
That was you, not me.
Move this out of the way.
Get rid of that thing. It's getting in the way.
Okay, anyway.
Okay, so
Devo,
do
one
you-
of my favorite bands, obviously.
Right.
Yeah.
But do you know where you mixed it?
I don't remember where we mixed it. I think we mixed it at Paramount. I can't remember.
You think you were in the same room?
I don't. Here's what happened. We recorded the record, and then we still weren't done with a couple songs. So the rest of the band got in the van and went on tour, and I stayed back for 2 days while they drove up to Seattle to start a tour.
Mm-hmm.
And I did the last two songs pretty much by myself and the engineer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think even the producer, Jim Goodwin, had gone on to another project. And it was just me recording with a guy named Josh,
Okay.
who was the engineer. And we did those last two songs pretty much by ourselves.
Yeah.
And then I got on a plane and flew up to Seattle. And then I don't even remember what happened with the mix. We didn't have any say in the mix. This is why I brought my machines, so I can finally have a say in the mix.
But this is why you're here today, is for
Yes.
you to relive that experience.
Aquabats, let's go.
20 years later. And believe me, I'm going to do everything you want. Everything you want to change, I'll change.
Yeah, good. Except for the drum sound.
Except for the drum sound
my Casio.
and maybe the
On the
auto-tuner.
auto-tune.
Might not be a good idea.
Well, then everything else is perfect.
Yes.
It sounds good. So without hearing it side by side, it's hard to tell what you've already changed.
Would you like to hear it side by
Because
side?
I think the beefy sound that comes off of this board is very
Spectacular.
spectacular, but I can't hear what the original mix is without a little comparison.
So I do have the original mix that I can.
Okay,
What we can do
okay.
is we can. There's a magic button on this board.
Oh, really?
So this magic button, you
it
press
called
it in and out, and it
auto-tune?
switches. It switches from the different versions. So basically, when I've been mixing this song, I've been comparing the old one, and what I can do is I can instantly switch it back and forth. So Christian, would you like to?
Sure.
Here?
Let's check it out.
They're not that different, because that was the goal. Original. No, this is original now. That was the new way. This is the original way. New way. Can't even tell, can
I've
you?
got a small friend who has a fat friend who had a big friend who gave birth to many
Original.
friends with a flashlight to the sky. We waited for them to land. I've got two tall friends who know my small friend
Yes.
who seem to have a problem with you. They got Roman candles, bottle rockets for the vandals who covered our lockers in blue. We're on our way.
These guitars are a little louder now, too.
We're
All the way?
gonna take over. Set it
Can hear 'em.
up one last time. Here we come again. We were strangers and we were pilgrims, role models of the family man. Pioneers
old
and
way, right?
patriarchs, patriots
Old way,
and
yeah.
matriarchs, taking out
like
the
the new way better.
promised land.
New way. Good.
Our
Just
little
punchier,
army,
bigger,
we
and
were
spreads out,
commandos,
spreads out bigger.
gorillas
Yes,
with
I agree.
decoder rings. We felt some opposition from some villains who were wishing they could be cadets and
Mix
kings.
the whole record.
We're on
And then
our
we'll put it
way.
out on vinyl.
That
What do you
might-
guys think? We could
Should
go
we-
back in time and you could get a record player and you could hear
We-
Cameron's new mixes on a vinyl record. What do you think?
That might be a good idea.
Deal.
Deal.
Done.
Did I just sign up for it right now?
Yeah, we'll give you points on it.
Oh, okay. Well, lots of
pay.
points. Lots of pay. $1 million
You could have,
points?
3 points.
Million points.
Million points. There's not such points to give.
Oh, okay. I can't take 1 million points then.
Maybe 100 points, but we can't give you 100 points.
Okay.
But let's just see how it turns out, and then we can talk about it.
So this is a lesson for anyone out there.
Always do a deal
When
where
it-
you don't have to pay them unless you like their work.
but
It's like tipping. Tipping is automatic. It should not be.
kids,
Just because someone brings you a plate of food doesn't mean they get 15% of the check. They have to do it in style.
whenever you
gotta earn it.
whenever you negotiate deals, do it before you mix the product for them.
And if you're negotiating the deal, do it.
No,
Find a compromise.
because it never works out. It never works
Hey,
out.
we've been working together for a long time,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's worked out great.
We'll find a way. We'll find a way.
That's right.
We
Love
just
always
shook on
finds a
it.
way.
So they were asking earlier, is there a Aquabats symbol?
Yes, there is. Okay.
Okay.
So you take the loser fingers, right this,
Okay.
and then you add the middle finger.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Say someone calls you a loser.
Okay.
Then you add your middle finger.
Okay.
Then you cross them over like that.
Ah.
Okay.
Okay.
See, and there's the two eyes and the mouth, and the ears of the dude. See, ears
Huh.
of the dude. Up
Okay.
top. Eyes. So kids go like that. That's the Aquabat symbol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear what your vocal sounds like soloed up?
Sure.
And you want to hear what kind of treatment I'm doing? Maybe we could even get on the technical side for a moment.
All right, and we
While
can
you're
add
here.
that auto tune.
We could add that
We
auto
had
tune.
a $1 million auto tune.
We're back from our little break here.
Hey,
Hey.
I was just writing a new song because that's my life: music, writing songs. That's why I'm the commander.
Mr. Commander, though, what the purpose of this video is, it's a learning video. So that we
Oh.
can teach people how to mix songs. And
I could teach people how to do sit-ups,
no,
but I don't want to.
But that's not that's not what we're making the video for.
Oh, okay.
So
You just lay down on your back and sit up.
so what I would like to do is can I have a couple minutes? Can I have a couple minutes where
Yes, you
We
could
go-
have anything you want since
we go over your vocals?
I'm
and-
in charge.
and we talk about why we treat your vocals the way we treat
Right.
them. And let's start out by
Doing the auto tune.
no, not doing the auto tune.
Yeah, you don't need to. Why?
Because you're perfect.
Because my voice was perfect.
Because you are the perfect singer.
Oh,
Oh.
sorry.
So what first I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you.
I've got a small friend
An
who has
untreated
a
vocal.
fat friend who had a big friend
Feels a
who
little
gave birth
thin.
to many friends with our
trying
flashlights
to
to
say.
the sky.
No.
We
I
waited for
bulked
them
up.
to land.
No.
I've got
Well, that was
two tall
20 years ago. I was
friends
really
who know my
skinny.
small friend.
So for me to make him magical, I have to.
I worked out every day since then.
I have to do tricks. So what if I do this trick, Christian? Would you think this would make your voice sound bigger?
Got a small friend who has
Adding
a
music?
fat friend who had a big friend.
Sounds
who
like
gave
I'm in a
birth to many
cathedral.
friends with a
Right.
On
That's
the coast of Croatia.
So that's probably a bad idea. That's probably a terrible idea.
yeah.
So my trick, I'm
Maybe
making.
Dubrovnik,
Okay, Slovak,
Yeah.
whatever.
Split.
Hungary.
Some beautiful cathedrals in Croatia.
I'm sure
Never
there
been
are.
Yeah.
We're not focused. We got to
Okay,
focus.
focus.
Focus on mixing. So
Not as beautiful as St. Peter's though. That's the cathedral of all time, in Rome.
okay.
Been there.
Okay.
Hold on, let me take a selfie.
I've never been there. So how do we make vocals bigger?
Just
Compression.
adding some reverb is not gonna do it.
You're right.
You're right.
What about compression?
I don't know. Compression
Makes it bigger.
does it?
Just makes it bigger. Just say it does.
Compression makes it bigger.
Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna look here. We're gonna use this. You know what this
Sounds
is
like
called?
depression to me.
1176. You write another song? Okay.
Hold on, let me put away my magic music stick. Let's listen to this. Which level of compression are you adding
Well,
to
I'm
my
gonna
already perfectly thin vocal?
I'm going to use a couple different compressors. The reason why is because I don't know why.
Wait. Did you just drive into a dead-end street?
I did. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
man.
I'm
What is
sorry.
going on here?
So
That's called a cul-de-sac.
when I listened to this original recording, you could tell he didn't overcompress things, which is good. That's great that he did that. But I want to add some compression. So like we were talking about before, where if I add a little compression, it elongates the signal, so it's a longer sound. So basically, I'm going to start with my 1176, and I'm going to follow that with the 6030 by McDSP.
Are you sure you don't want to add the 70-20?
No, I don't want to add the 720.
60-30.
And I'm
Okay.
also going to follow that with the SSL. And you think about, why is he throwing 3 compressors on? It's like I'm hitting them all softly because they all kind of do a little different trick and they're a little different treatment. And then I'm going to finish it all off with a de-esser because chances are I'm going to brighten it up a little bit, and you don't want that.
You don't want a BSer, you want a DSer.
I do not want the BSer. Maybe I should get that one for you. Okay, so if we look at the basics of that,
Oh, sorry.
Christian is going to pay attention.
Okay,
for
go
a
ahead.
moment.
Basics.
Uh,
I was trying to do my own rim shots over there, but
I'm not doing anything really overly fancy on the 1176. It's actually kind of the stock settings that you would use that would pop up. But if you look at the meter, you're going to see how hard I'm hitting it. Which
I've got a small friend who has a fat friend
It's very
who
tasteful.
had a big friend
Yeah,
who gave
it
birth
sounds
to
bigger,
many
actually.
friends with a flat.
and chances are when they recorded this, they probably went through one of these because this was a very
So
standard.
what you did is you took my thin voice and with compression, the 60-30,
Yes,
you beefed it up.
correct.
Can you do the opposite? Can you take some beef and then thin it out? Because that's what I'm looking for right now.
So if you eat the 60-30,
Like a pill
is
or
that what you're
some
saying?
surgery or
Maybe eat the 60. Maybe if
what
they-
can I do to
What
thin
if,
out?
Well, I got an invention. What if they invent a pill that is that compressor
That's what I'm
that
talking
you
about.
swallow
And make you
then
fat?
whew,
No, that's-
makes you
yeah, the
skinny or
opposite,
fat.
yeah.
Oh yeah, it makes you.
We need to push a button to make
How do
that.
we make it thin then?
That's what I'm saying.
They only
But
have the fattening
So if
one.
you want it to be thin again, you just take off the compression.
So you throw it up? Or I don't get it.
Yeah.
What do you do with it?
No, I'm just saying.
yes,
I'm just
correct.
helping the kids learn.
right. And we don't
See,
want it
kids,
to be thin.
you don't want it to be thin. You want it to be beefy and big,
Yes.
like the Bat Commander.
Now the part of the beefy and big too is we need to EQ a little bit, and part of
okay, yeah.
let's get back to like the low frequencies. You don't want the low frequencies because they're just kind of muddle and subby, and they don't work for a vocal. They're no
True,
good.
yeah.
It's more like him hitting the microphone. That's the sound you're getting.
I see.
So if you look at my EQ, it was already kind of thin, so you'll notice that I'm not adding any high end. I'm actually digging out some bad mid frequencies. So if you listen,
I've got a small friend who
this
has a fat
frequency.
friend who had a big friend who gave birth to many friends with our flashlights to the sky.
Sounded like I'm in a haunted house now.
yeah, so it doesn't sound so good. So what we're gonna do is
Haunted house.
is we're gonna back off that frequency because it's not as pleasurable of a frequency. So
I've got a small friend who has a fat friend
slicker
who
now.
had a big friend who
more
gave
like,
birth to
Cher.
many friends with our flashlights
No,
to the
it's not
sky.
quite- it's not
We
quite
waited
that
for them
level
to
yet.
land.
Doesn't sound like $1 million yet.
okay, not yet. Now, so
Which is she saw spent that on surgery. Did you know that?
I did not know
she
that.
was sick. She had to get her everything fixed.
Okay. So compression was. I mean, the
That's
EQ.
what happens when you get old. You get sick. You have to spend money on surgery.
Do you know what kind of microphone you were singing on?
The D29.
No, was it big, small,
I can't really remember.
Neumann?
I remember though we did some of the songs had a spit guard and some of them didn't.
Okay. As we know, it has nothing to do with the
'Cause I
microphone.
kept arguing with the producer and saying like, look, the Beastie Boys never rock a mic with the pantyhose, so why does the Bat Commander have to rock a mic with the pantyhose?
Good point.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a good argument with the
Right.
producer.
I'm like, come on, dude. Get rid of the spit guard. He's like, well, that microphone's really expensive.
I don't
That's
want you
kind
to
of how he
spit on
talked.
it.
That's kind of how he talked.
Did it really?
Hey, Jim. Just kidding. I don't know where Jim is. I've been trying to find him.
And I sent you those links of those pictures, and
Was
you
the
say
wrong
it's not
guy.
him.
Was the wrong guy.
I just figured he would look like
There
that.
must be thousands of Jim Goodwins in the world.
But did that guy look like he would be a producer?
He did. I think he was a producer,
Oh, yeah, okay.
but not the producer.
Okay. Well, we're looking for you,
Okay.
Jim.
Anyway, so I don't remember the mic we used, but I believe it was a big, thick one.
Okay. It's probably a Neumann.
Neumann.
It's probably a U47.
And I think
67.
the pantyhose that we sang into came out of a little egg. They were called legs. Remember you buy them at the store? They were
Yeah.
little. My mom used to wear those. Ah,
When I was a kid, I brewed beer once. I was a kid.
You
I
brewed
shouldn't,
a
I
beer?
shouldn't have brewed beer.
What?
And we didn't have a strainer.
did
so
you live
we
in a
took,
like third world country
No,
or
no, we
something?
took my mom's pantyhose and we strained it through pantyhose.
Really?
Yeah, it wasn't.
Did it taste like
no,
her
it-
perfume?
no, it didn't. They were new pantyhose. But
Oh,
my
that's-
mom.
That's good.
But years later,
weren't used
years
pantyhose?
later, my mom said, "I bought this new pair of pantyhose years ago, and I just never found it." I'm like, "I know where it is." No joke.
It's in the bottom of
All right,
my
we
beer
digress.
vat.
We digress.
Kids,
Okay.
don't drink beer.
Let's get back to
You're not
focusing.
old enough.
Correct. He's
Okay.
right.
Cher is though.
Sure.
She old.
So I hope Cher's not watching this. We're screwed.
Hey, she'll be all right. Her name's Cher.
Okay.
She has good feelings
Cher.
towards everyone.
So vocals. That's kind of what I did with vocals. Not a lot. Oh, actually, let's reverb. I did add a little bit of reverb, but I didn't add that big bathroom sound that you're talking about.
Yeah, haunted house bathroom.
And the reason why is because when I listened to the original one, he had a little bit in there, and that was kind of more standard to add a little bit of depth to things.
I see.
But I actually added 2 reverbs. One
I'm
reverb.
kind of tuning out, just so you know.
That's okay. You please do.
I'm just thinking about all these problems in the world, and
And I'm focused.
it's
on
hard
this.
for me. It's hard for me to focus when the world is in such trouble.
Yes.
Okay, but that's who I am. I'm just a hero like that.
Okay. And I'm focused on helping the kids and everyone else.
Donate.
So the reason I have 2 reverbs is because each reverb has a different characteristic to it. And
Yes, there are. There's all kinds of characters.
Yes, and you try to keep it subtle because, in general, it's a weird way. When I started recording, everyone would always say reverb is bad on rock vocals. It's not allowed. You can put delay on there, and I always thought a little bit of a reverb was okay. So you have to be tasteful with your reverb if you're going to put it in there.
I agree.
okay?
Too much reverb, it's like you're inside of a bathroom under a ship in a haunted house.
And no one wants to listen to the
yeah,
song
no one
that
wants
way.
to go there.
That's not.
or you're like in a
fun at
prison
all.
shower or something.
Let's talk
no
about
one
your.
wants to go to the prison shower.
No one wants to go to the prison shower ever. Okay.
Especially on a fun record.
No, why would you want to go to prison?
Maybe on the record you could do on there. What's the band that says that?
The Disturbed.
Chemical Brothers.
No. The Disturbed.
Oh, The Disturbed.
Wah.
The Disturbed.
Yeah, but
The
that.
Disturbed.
But think about that. That wah made them successful.
That's true.
Made 'em
Maybe
who
I
they
need
are
to do.
today.
Here, play the song real quick. Let me just try it.
Wah maybe at the beginning or the end.
Yeah, at the very beginning.
We've been playing the beginning a lot. Maybe try it in this break.
Okay.
See if this is better.
Oh, I got it. Yeah. I know exactly where to put it. Can we break the mic out? Let's record it.
Mike.
Right. No, right. Not yet. Here you go. Not yet.
Before the battle's through, tell your mom, tell your dad
Here.
we were super rad.
Ooh, wah,
We're on our way, here we go. We're gonna
Yeah?
take
Dude, that's the $1 million ad right there.
That's how they made $1 million.
One more time. Right to the end of that.
Yeah,
right before the break.
Not too much. Not too much.
tell your
Okay,
mom,
I'll go more guttural.
tell your dad
Okay.
we were super rad.
Ooh,
We're on our way.
It's good.
Yeah?
I had the mic going.
I got a better idea. Let's just sample the Dude song and put it in there. Yeah.
Okay, but don't you think that your fans would be bummed if they listen to that?
I think they might laugh.
They might laugh too. Okay, that would be
Maybe back then they would have been sad.
maybe a remix.
But
We'll
now
do
they
that.
would know that we were making fun.
But what happens when they sue you for using it?
Well, they would win because I work at a car wash.
Let's talk about
Here, you can have everything I own.
let's talk about another element. Let's talk about the background
Yes,
vocals. Were
background
you involved
vocals.
with the background vocals?
I was.
Do you know
I might have
anything
been
about
the
these?
only background vocal.
No. Because listen,
We're on our way.
Oh, that is you.
Here we
That's
go.
all me.
We're gonna take over.
Because what I
Set
said
it off
earlier,
one last
I was the
time.
only one
Here we
there
come
when we finished this song.
again.
so all these background vocals.
All the band was in a boat.
okay.
All
Traveling.
systems go.
What about this?
Soon the world will know.
That's all me.
How did you do that then?
Super rad, super rad.
I just said
there's at least-
super red like 20 times. And they just
Soon the world will know.
we layer it, right? That's
You
called
did it like lower?
that's called
Super
triple
rad,
cut.
super rad, super rad.
That sounds like Adam's in there.
Maybe he is.
Super rad, super rad, super rad.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe I'm mistaken.
Super rad, super rad.
Maybe all the guys were here when we
All
did this song.
systems go. Soon the world will know.
Yeah, that is other people.
Yeah.
Super
All right.
rad, super rad, super rad.
Correction.
Rad, 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 rad.
It's Chad.
Rad, rad,
Yeah, that's
rad,
true.
rad,
That's
rad,
Chad.
rad, rad, rad,
Rad
rad,
Chad.
And you.
rad, 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 rad.
Whoa, a little harmonizing lad.
I heard Boyd in there.
Wow, powerful.
Okay.
Okay, so the whole band was there when we finished this song. I think it was the other song,
Idiot
Story
Box.
of Nothing and Idiot Box.
Okay.
That was it.
Okay.
Those two songs, no one was around. Okay, but we were all there for Super Red.
Okay.
Okay, so correction to the world of the interweb.
All right.
Sorry, guys. It was 20 years ago, and a lot of things have happened since then. It was like
lot of cars
I was like
washed.
40 pounds ago. My voice was thinner.
It was, but now it's thick.
Yeah, now it's thick.
Now we don't need those compressors.
Smelled like a thick slice of bacon.
We washed them out. We don't need them. Let's look at our background vocals. Were
Okay,
they thick?
let's
Were they
look-
thin?
They were kind of thin too.
So we're gonna look at what kind of
I
compression.
think we could beef them up
We start with an EQ. It looks
like
like,
a Dinty Moore stew.
I'm actually taking out low end from the vocals. So
Really?
they were too beefy.
We're on our
It must have been
way.
too beefy.
Here we go. We're gonna take over. Set it off one last time.
That guy's not a very
Here
good
we
singer.
come again.
That's you.
Oh shoot!
So for the background vocals, I
I
didn't.
was young. I needed the money. Okay.
But you did good. You did good.
Okay.
I didn't need a lot of tricks for the background vocals because they were obviously, like I was talking about before, they recorded it well. They had a vision for the sound and the style, and that's how they recorded it. The minimal things I'm doing is take a little bit of low end out of it, so to get rid of rumble, compress a little bit to control a little bit on the second compressor. The last compression, I'm using that same 60-30, and I'm just hitting it a little bit harder so it glues it together. And finally, I'm using a de-esser to get rid of that. And the reason I'm doing that is because when
A de-esser.
yes,
Does that like get rid of the?
yes,
That's interesting.
gets rid of all that. Because when you brighten it up too much, you get tons of that, and when you
Right.
compress it too much, you
Right.
get a lot of that.
And if I had a lisp, it would be really gnarly.
It'd be terrible.
Yeah,
So I basically
like the Romantics.
I got rid of your lisp.
Remember that band, the Romantics?
Yeah, they had a lisp.
You're like, I had a crazy lisp.
I don't remember.
You got to check it out.
I will definitely pay
Right.
attention to that.
I hear the secrets that you keep when you're talking in your sleep. It was crazy.
It was not that bad.
It was pretty bad.
Okay.
But they must have used a mad de-esser back then.
They probably had like 2 de-essers, maybe more.
R2 de-esser.
R2 de-esser. That
Like
is
a
what
robot
Star
from
Wars
space
was
that got
out.
rid of S's.
It's probably Empire Strikes Back.
Anyway, I love the Romantics.
Okay.
That's what I like about you.
You don't want to tour with them.
No.
So why are you saying things like that?
Why? We would tour the state farms and all that stuff.
Do they still play?
The fairs, yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Nothing wrong with a fair.
OC Fair, the Romantics,
Okay.
leather pants.
Okay.
I'm in.
Untouchables.
Romantics, Rick Springfield and the Aquabats.
I saw the
County Fair.
Springfield.
Springfield's awesome.
I just finished this album.
He's the best, right?
For real.
What a rad guy.
He just worked on Nick.
That's a dream tour right
He's
there. I
working on
love
Nick
it.
Springfield's.
I think we mastered on Monday.
I've done everything for you. You've done nothing for me. Rick Springfield.
He's a legend.
So good.
Freaking awesome.
He seems like a rad guy.
When I worked with Lit,
Dr. Noah Drake, General Hospital. So watch that.
That's very oddly specific.
Hey man, he was huge when I was a lad.
he was.
Rick Springfield on TV and on the radio.
Yeah.
People said it couldn't be done, and then guess who else did it?
Who?
The Aquabats.
The Aquabats did it.
Yes.
Don't you have a TV
Don't say
show?
Travis again.
Don't you have a TV?
You know what's funny is Travis quit the band because he didn't want to be on a TV show, and then he did a TV show. Travis show. It's weird, right? Could have been on the Aquabat show.
You could have.
15 years later.
Oh, yes, it's very true.
Don't pretend you don't want to be on
Hey,
TV. Everyone wants
I
to be
saw
on
the
TV.
Aquabat shows on Netflix now.
It is on Netflix.
That's awesome.
That's true.
Good for you.
That's true.
You got it there.
It's good. The Aquabat Super Show. Check it out on Netflix.
And season 2 and 3 will be remixed by me, and then that will be up there too, right?
We're gonna do a new episode at the car wash. Actually,
We
my
are.
boss said it. My boss said it was cool.
Oh, good. Shoot it late at
Hopefully
night.
we can get Rick Springfield to show up. Yeah,
Rick
cameo.
Well, let's ask Warren.
We're like shining his car, break his window. Oh no! Broke Rick Springfield's window.
You gotta fix it.
Yeah,
you gotta
we gotta-
repair it before
like
he
with
gets
tape.
back.
That's the whole comedy. Yeah.
And he's back in like.
And he's like, here he comes.
He's
And
in like the
we're-
lounge, like reading
Yeah.
a magazine. You're like,
It writes itself.
Rick, you can't come in yet. It does write itself.
Rick, hang on, man.
Hey, play a guitar for me. Play just one note.
That's so like such a Happy Days episode.
It's like an Aquabats episode.
We're dead. We're in. That's done. Hold on, let me write that down. On these relics of the past.
Well, you can't ruin
The
the
only
relics.
paper that existed in the studio, the track sheets.
There's not a lot of documentation.
That's true. Okay, sorry.
Should we get back to
We're
mixing?
digressing.
Uh,
Kids, you want to learn how to mix, but you really just want to hang out with us, right?
well, you know what? You know it's really important. I'm gonna get serious for a moment, even though he
Okay.
doesn't want to get serious.
Let me back up.
This is important. Like this kind of community sort of aspect of making music is really important because if we can't get along, we can't work together. What's the point of doing this? 'Cause
That's true.
I'm a little scared of you right now.
Okay.
Just a little bit scared.
I'm just gonna do like a song
It-
while you're talking serious.
And often it's really hard to focus when you're mixing when a lot of other stuff's going on. It's very difficult, right, Christian?
Yes.
So normally we don't play instruments when we're mixing.
You're right. That's true. We just focus on what's already been recorded.
And one lesson, Christian doesn't know this trick, but a lot of
I mean,
times,
the commander? Who's Christian?
the commander. This is just like to me, it's like one of those tricks that I use. Is when I'm mixing, I don't really. I'm gonna say I don't allow guitars in the room, but I always try to take guitars and instruments out of the room because when you have guitars in a room and you're mixing and someone's strumming a guitar, you don't know what you're listening for, and so. It's just one of my tricks.
That's true.
When
That's
you have
true.
drum machines, you have pianos, all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. So it's,
You got to keep it real.
but the key to mixing is focusing here and listening to this because
That's
this is
right.
what goes out over the air or wherever it goes nowadays. I don't really know, but let's get back to where are we at right now? What do we need to focus on? You've listened to it.
We were talking about backing vocals, how to beef them up, right?
Right.
Or do you already go over that?
We
Already
did.
finished
We
that?
compressed and we
Okay.
EQ'd and we made it a little bit bigger. So then we have to just find the levels that match what you think is cool. So let's listen for a second. This is what I chose. So
That was great.
his group vocal there is just himself, so it doesn't need to be terribly loud. At least he's not being noisy, is the way I look at it.
Not there.
Let's go to this part right here. Is it big enough for a crowd?
Sounds pretty good. I think you could bump it a little bit.
Nudge it up a little bit.
Yeah, nudge it.
A little more of a party.
Yeah, and here's why. Push pause. It kind of sounds like it's a bunch of double tracks.
Right.
Because even in the beginning, when you first started going through those tracks, we kind of thought it was all me. Right? And then we were like, oh no, that's the rest of the guys. The guys are there. So maybe if there's a way to just nudge it a little bit so it sounds more like a crowd and not like
Right.
a bunch of double tracks. Because the effect we were going for was to sound like a crowd of people singing, not just me.
you, yeah.
Just not reinforcing the lead vocal, but making it a chant.
So my whole solution for that is reverb.
Retrack it.
No, right now.
Let's go. I'm in the mood.
Right
I'll just do a bunch of different voices.
Christian, we're recreating 1997 here.
I can do a great Gollum.
But that's not what we're working on.
You're right. You're right.
Okay, guys.
You mean,
Commander.
Yes.
I mean, that's why. But it's
yeah,
why-
that's why I put it on my head.
Okay, so
So you don't forget that
Okay.
my name is
the
the Commander.
Oh, his name is the Commander.
Warren, you having a good time?
Marvelous, thank you very much.
Great. That's the guy back there. We're going to do a record together.
What? You can't do a record with him. Wait, this is not
Wow,
fair.
we already just signed
We
the deal.
already just signed a deal. And how many points is he getting? 2
million.
million. This is a ripoff. Eric, do you want to do a record? I'm doing Eric's record.
Wait, come on, focus, focus.
I'm doing it for the lab coat.
For the stinky lab coat.
I'm not giving the sticky lab coat up, no matter what.
Well, you didn't bring yours. I had to bring one
You're
for
gonna
you.
have to tear this off me. Oh,
Epic. This is
No.
epic.
No, this
Okay.
is-
This is okay, where were we at? We're talking about nudging,
so
getting to a group vocal sound as opposed to a multi-track of the lead vocal.
yes,
How does the kids at home do that?
the kids at home, they turn up reverb, they add delays, little tricks like that. They compress it harder, and but we don't want to make too big of a group because we wanted to kind of match what we had. Let's just show you.
Come again. All systems go. Soon the world will know.
If I take the reverb off,
It's tough because we're all kind of
Come
singing the same
again.
way, you know?
All systems go.
see how dry it is?
Yeah, yeah.
Soon the world will know.
But then we add the reverb channels on it.
Come again. All systems go.
Yeah, it sounds more like a crew now.
Soon the world will know.
Good.
So you know it's
This
kind
guy's
of
pretty good.
you know what's kind of interesting about when you listen to that spot specifically, you'll notice that a vocal just totally cuts out. Listen to that back to that one more time. Check this out. And this is a time. Listen.
Time. Here we come again. All
And the left side, how it disappeared.
Yeah, that's
so
weird.
basically what happened was when he was recording, he punched in a little bit early. So you lost some of the
Yeah.
But back in the day, with a tape, you can't look at this. You can't look at the wave file and go, oh
Oh,
man,
yeah.
that's where we lost
Yeah.
it. So in theory, when you play it with the music,
here we come again. All systems go.
you just don't. I mean, if you now that you focus, you'll hear that side kind of
Yeah.
drops out and that cuts through. But the reality of it, does it need to be perfect? It doesn't need to be
No,
perfect.
it doesn't
It's-
need to be perfect.
And no one knew that cut out until this moment. So
Yeah.
it's a spoiler alert right there.
Diamonds go through lots of phases before they're diamonds.
They do. How long does that take?
Millions of years.
Okay.
Millions of points.
Millions of points later. But you'll also notice when you're scanning through these tracks too, you'll see spots where it's just like the right side. Like if you go to 1 minute and 38 seconds right here.
We're on our way. Here we go. We're gonna take over.
Now the thing is, you go back to the first pre-chorus and
We're on our way. Here we go.
it's stereo. So nowadays we would actually have copied and pasted and moved it over there. But back in the day,
Yeah, we
you didn't know. You just
sang it each time.
Yeah, and
you
then-
couldn't fly things around back then.
Yeah, or you at this scale you couldn't fly
Yeah,
things around.
no.
Michael Jackson's scale you could, and had drum machines and things like that. But at this time, no, you couldn't.
No,
It just was what it,
it
was.
just wasn't what you could do.
No, it wasn't what you could do.
You had to really lay down every part of the song. You couldn't double a chorus by moving it around.
Let's talk really fast about how this was tracked. When you tracked this, were you singing when Travis played drums?
No.
So-
So we tracked the drums first, and I think Travis. I want to say he did everything in a day, but I think it was 2 days. I think he
Okay.
was there for 2 days, because there's a lot of songs on there. I think there's 15 songs on there, but we did like 17 or 18 songs,
Okay.
and Travis just nailed it. Like he was in and out in a day, and then he drove back home to the Inland Empire where he lived at the time.
Okay. Did he play along with anyone else? Did the whole band play with him? It's a trick question.
I think we did do. I think there was like I think we were doing some scratch stuff.
So what I noticed on all these tapes when I was listening is I could tell
I
that
can't remember.
drums played with guitar. There was
Yeah.
one guitar and
Yeah.
drums on all.
Yeah. So I
and-
think Corey played rhythm.
Yep.
Chainsaw. Chainsaw played rhythm.
Yeah, Commander.
Chainsaw played rhythm, and I don't think Crash played bass while
He
this happened.
didn't
No.
because all the takes that I saw that there's a scratch guitar, there's never a scratch bass,
Right.
and then basically I knew when they were
Which
all,
is weird because you'd think the rhythm section
Would all play together.
But I think the reason that Chainsaw did it is because his rhythm is pretty he's pretty tight.
Yeah.
Rhythmically,
he's damn good.
and Crash is a bit of a crash sometimes.
Yeah, but he's the spirit.
He's the spirit of the
rhythm.
Aquabats. That's
Yeah,
true.
Yeah, he's very important.
But Chainsaw's very precise rhythmically,
Right.
and so is Travis,
and I
the
think
Baron Von Tito.
when you solo up these tracks and you listen to it and it'll be different than listening to like if you bought the Runaway Kids or the Motorhead that we did. They're more locked in. They're tighter. There's moments here where the bass and the guitars and things they're
Swim a little bit.
They definitely swim. But when you put them all together, you don't notice the swim.
No.
And
And we understood that too, but we were kind of like, whatever, it sounds okay. Let's just keep going. You know?
Yeah.
So we weren't super.
overly focused on making it perfect. It was more about the spirit,
Right.
right?
It was if it sounded fun.
Right.
And I think sometimes things that are a little rough around the edges are funner than things that are just precise and tight.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. And that's why when
Which is why so many metal bands are so precise and tight because they don't want to be fun. They're mad at the
They
world.
are serious and they're mad all the
totally
time.
serious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You ever seen Slayer?
Yeah.
Slipknot?
Tight.
They're tough.
They're tough and tight.
They'll smash you.
Well, I think it's kind of more fun to just kick back, put the dogs up, have fun, eat some marshmallows.
Music's about having fun. Mixing's about having fun. All this stuff.
Yeah.
It's-
It depends on what you're into, man. Maybe you're not into that. But
yeah. I mean, and our jobs are to focus them and to make them more precise when we need to make them more precise and allow looseness when looseness is necessary.
right.
And keep the spirit of what this is because
I bet Rick Springfield can kick back and just have a little more fun.
I bet he can.
I bet there's discovery that happens in fun as well. Sometimes when you're having fun and you're messing around, you stumble onto things that you wouldn't if you were too narrow in your decision making. This is how it has to be like this. It's better. I think for what we're doing or for poppier stuff, it's better to be flexible because then you stumble onto happy accidents.
So he brings up an excellent point that talks about general recording nowadays. Because nowadays, people are focused on getting little sections and making them perfect as opposed to playing full songs. And a lot of times, in my experience, when you play full songs, mistakes are made. And when those mistakes are made, sometimes they're good mistakes and you get something new and something creative. And I think that is so important. When I work with artists, I'm always saying, hey, let's go in the rehearsal room, learn a whole song. And some of those artists I work with, no effects, they say, no, let's just work on one part.
Are you outing No Effects right
Well, I
now?
didn't say that. I had something in my throat. So my whole job
The
is to try
best
to...
part is
He
that
said
you.
no offense.
No
No-
offense.
No
That's,
offense.
that's
No
what you
offense.
said. You
No,
didn't say no
no
effects.
No offense.
That's
yeah,
right. No offense.
I don't know no offense.
Good save, Warren. Good save.
Yes, thank you. But another example
Yes.
is Pennywise was a man I just had in here.
Yeah.
And I basically
Super
put him in
precise. Very
I
precise.
put him in that room.
Not sloppy at all.
And I said, let's play these songs. 5, 6, 7, 8. Fletcher's pretty big.
I know he's
Hey,
huge.
he's a big
He's
kid.
huge. That's why I say he's not sloppy at all.
He can never make it through this far though, so we're good.
Through the door? Did you say he couldn't make it through the
Well, he
door?
might not.
He's not
be.
that big.
Well.
Yeah, he probably didn't get this far into the.
No, he's asleep by
Yeah.
now. Yeah, he's beating someone up. I don't know. Well, we'll see. Sorry, Fletcher.
Fletcher loves the Agrabats.
He does.
You know what's funny? The 1998 Warped Tour we played in San Diego, and Fletcher came to watch us play. The Pennywise dude. I can't really repeat what he said after we were done, but we had a big ending and fireworks, and it was crazy. And Fletcher comes back into the tent, and he walked right up to Travis. And he goes, dude, you are an awesome drummer. What are you doing with these bleeps? He said a word that started with F.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll just leave it at that.
That sounds like him.
And we were sitting right there. It wasn't like he was across the room. It was this close.
That's awesome.
It wasn't that awesome.
For you, it wasn't.
It was like, hey,
But you know
Did you see my dance moves?
you know what's rad about what's amazing with what you just said there is
Yes.
it just showed like a guy like Travis at this time was excelling over other drummers. He was an amazing drummer, and there's no edits on these drums at all. This
No.
is just one take,
Yeah,
him
and-
playing live, and his meter is great.
And the
his fills
amazing
are
thing
great.
about Travis was he wanted to be a drummer, and when we'd be in the band, he'd be playing his practice pads. Drums were his life. And he was great, and he wanted to be the best. And that it shows on this record. The stuff that he is playing technically on this record is probably harder than anything he played in his subsequent bands. No offense. But he's playing a lot of different time signatures. He's playing different things. He's doing crazy stuff on the hi-hats, and the stuff he would do and I think even at the time I didn't really understand musically what he was doing until later. Like, wow, he's really amazing. So if anything, it's really cool to listen to that record to hear the drums on it because they're really great.
And I think it's special when you listen to this. You're like, hey, that guy performed
Yeah.
that. That's what it is. No one edited that. No one made him perfect. He was just
Right, and this is Travis too. When he first joined the band, we actually had a CD out, our first CD, and he came in to start playing, and we'd start playing him a song for him to learn because he didn't have the CD. So we'd start playing him a song, and we'd get maybe like 3/4 of the way through it, not even that, halfway through it. He'd be like, "Okay, good, I got it," and he would just play it perfect. And we were like, "Don't you know how it's going to end?" He's like, I got it, don't worry. And he just boom, boom, boom. We didn't even have to tell him.
Yeah.
Like, okay, there's 4 more bars or what. He would just end perfectly. He just got it. Like he's magic.
yeah, he's magic.
Which is why every band that we played with tried to steal him. Every band.
Except for Pennywise.
They might have. I don't know. Oh yeah, Pennywise, you didn't do that either. I don't know for sure, but anyway, Travis is a great drummer.
Yeah.
We have a drummer named Ricky now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ricky's great too.
Yeah. He's the little Babalu.
He's a little different. That's all right.
He's
grown.
great. He's great.
Aquabats have grown.
What are you trying to say?
All right. Technically, what else should I cover with you? Do you want me to cover any more? Do you want to listen more? Do you need A, B, or?
Whatever, man. I think we're good. It's sounding really good.
Okay.
Are you feeling like this mix is solid then, or is there something else we would want to talk about or go over?
I don't.
We just want to do a photo shoot, or
We can do a photo shoot, I guess.
sorry.
I mean, and I talked about this earlier. It's like, to me.
All right, here's what I want to hear.
Okay.
Okay, I want you to isolate the vocals again with the auto tuner on it.
Yes.
Okay, because I think I found a beat that we could put underneath it. Okay.
I've got a small friend who has a fat friend who had a big friend who gave birth to many friends with our flashlights to the sky. We waited for them to land. I've got 2 tall friends who know my small friend who seem to have a problem
Walking
with
on
you.
sunshine.
They got Roman candles, bottle rockets for the vandals who cover the lockers in glue. We're on our way, here we go. We're gonna take over. Set it off one last time. Here we come again. We were strangers and we were pilgrims, role models of the family man.
I'll never get it.
Yeah, maybe on the next record you can do that. How about that? What do you think?
Okay. Try that. That was too close. Too close to the beat that's already there. No, that's too crazy. No,
How about a fade out? Like all the way out?
Perfect.
Are there
That
batteries in
sounded
there?
great. All right, I'm taking it. I'll admit defeat. You're right, Cameron. It sounds so much better than it did without the Casio keyboard. It was worth a try, though.
Our job is to make these people happy, is to give them the art that
Right.
they want to portray. And if it's a tight snare drum, we give them a tight snare drum. And is it right or wrong technically? Does it really matter? I think in general, you want the spirit of things to be interesting. I think that's the most important side of all this mixing and tracking and all this stuff. And I think we were very fortunate to have 2-inch reels that were recorded at a high quality.
Yeah.
And when you pop this up and you listen to this stuff, you'll realize when you take all this stuff off, it sounds fairly similar to the record, which is just, it's awesome. I love to have tracks like that, as opposed to tracks you're having to EQ and compress and do whatever and put fake guitars and amps on. Like, they created the spirit that they wanted to be, and it makes this whole mixing process so much simpler. And that's why when you work on this, you say, hey, there's not a lot to be done, and we're lucky. We're very fortunate. You're just taking pictures? What is this? What's this all about?
I gotta do something while you're talking. It's true. Everything you said, I agree with.
Good. I'm going to show you one last thing on
Okay,
here.
one last thing?
Because
Okay.
I don't even know if you know what this is. So when we look at the tracks, there's one track it's called Double. So it's a double vocal. And basically you did 2 takes of this song. And the first take is this master take that you kept. And the second take, because it was on tape, I can see that you sang the song again. But looking at the track sheet, the track sheet doesn't say double vocal. It says
Alternative
the wrong track sheet.
lyrics.
No, it actually says reverse. It's a reverse effect is what it is. So in theory, when he was mixing this song, he had on the console, he had to mute this, the double vocal all the way through, whereas I can just take the track and make it gray like this and mute it. So when you hit this bridge section, you get this little background thing.
Oh, wow.
You didn't even know that, did you?
No.
Tell your mom,
So what does it sound like with everything together? Is that playing right now? The reverse?
It's playing right there. Watch.
and if we die before the battle's through, tell your mom, tell your dad we were super rad.
Wow.
So instead
Interesting.
of nowadays, what we do is we put a plug-in on things like this, and and you fix it in the mix. But he actually tracked it and recorded it onto the multi-track, so it would always be there. Just for fun, let's reverse it because it's a reverse reverb. Let's see what it sounds like unreversed. Just for fun.
Okay.
Let's just see.
Just for fun.
Kind of the same.
It sounds like,
You can hear the kick.
yeah.
Doom, good doom, good doom. I'm gonna put it back. That's reversed.
Interesting.
So my guess on how he did this, you want to know
Yeah.
my inside of this?
I love it.
So back in the day, what you used to do is you used to have it stuck. When you had the reel of tape on the reel, you had 2 reels. You had one reel here and you had one reel here.
Oh, really?
And you would play the tape. And to make things reverse, what you had to do is you had to take this tape, flip it upside down, and you had to put it on this side. So it went this way to this way. So now when you played it back, everything would play in reverse.
Is this our master
Christian.
tape that
This
you're
is your
touching
master
the
tape.
ground?
No, it's okay. It doesn't.
Wait, the light's exposing it.
The light. So when
That's
you play it,
interesting.
when you play it back, it plays back in reverse. So what he would then do is he would put the reverb on that snare drum, and then it would record, not reversed. How do I explain that? It would reversed, it would play back normal. But then once you recorded it and you flipped the tape back over, everything would play normal except for that part would play reversed. So that's probably how he did that trick right there.
Interesting.
And now the most,
Nowadays, there's just like an app you get or something.
yes, there's an app.
A plug-in.
It's a plugin. Yes, that's what it's called.
I downloaded this app that reversed all the music.
But one thing that you had to be careful is when you had a tape over here and you had the tracks labeled 1 through 24, when you flipped them over and put them on the other side, they were reversed.
Yeah.
So if you put
Track 1
if
is
you
the
put track
drums,
1 on
now
record,
track 24 is the drums.
exactly.
Yeah.
So if you put 24 on record, you would have lost your kick drum. So he had to mathematically
Wow. Yeah.
compute where that track was going.
You mean there's
So-
a reason we learn math in school?
So what do we use timecode for?
So time code is so that you can, that sound generates numbers that you can go back and reference and say, hey, at 5 seconds, it's actually hitting numbers. It generates a visual that you can actually go back and reference, say like at 4 seconds and point ...
So what-
It's generating a code that you can slide on. Before they had a bar that you could actually see, they had to do it with an audio track that generated a time code.
Why would we use that back in that time? In 1997, why would you use that?
Because there was no Pro Tools, there was no audio, there was no.
So that exists because there was no Pro Tools.
Well, why don't you tell me, Mr. Smart Guy? You're the one wearing the lab coat.
Well, I'll tell you. Why don't I tell you?
Yeah, tell us, Cameron.
So 97, before we were using Pro Tools,
You be the straight man.
if we wanted to automate, there were certain consoles that you could use automation where you could move the faders up and down.
see.
Like SSLs were one of those consoles. There were other things like flying faders that would just move faders around. So basically, any multi-track at that point, you would stripe a clock, a SMPTE clock, and you would choose a time and you'd start it, and it runs. So the computer will follow that clock. So every time you do a ride, it would memorize that ride and play it back. So basically, this tells me he probably mixed it on an SSL. Chances are. So that's how you lock this with in theory a tape. When I used to work on with Dr. Dre, he used to lock drum machines, and what he would do is the drum machine would accept that SMPTE and it would play the drum machine for him, and it would lock it in. So if he wanted to change a couple sounds, even after you'd recorded it, he could come back and he could lock it with the SMPTE and it could play again, and it would lock. So you could use it with drum machines, you could use it with older consoles, and even the older SSLs now. Some people we still mix on the a 9000 or a E console or a G console to automate.
Nothing but a G thing, baby.
Not just to automate in Pro Tools, but to automate with the consoles. And it kind of, it's also, I'm going to show you a little box here. It's called the Personas box that I kind of bought for that reason, because I got tired of doing all my automation with the mouse, like moving like little milliseconds. It
Right.
became less and less fun, this whole process. So I bought this thing, and what it does is, would you like to see what it does, Christian?
Sure, yeah.
So let's take the lead vocal for a second. We got a lead vocal right here. And we're going to switch this over to the volume. And we look at the volume here. And you see over here, we got this little thing here. It says, that's not the one I want. This one right here. It says read, off, touch, latch, right. So these were automation modes, Commander, these were automation modes. I apologize. This is similar to the SSL. They had, okay, we're talking about automating. We're
Music.
talking about using this little box
You're
here.
gonna put the voice.
No, we're gonna automate the voice back and forth, and I'm gonna let you do this for a second. So what I can do is I can move this little sucker to any track I want.
Get going.
You gotta go pretty soon?
Yeah.
Okay, well, 3 more minutes and you're out of here, okay? So what I can do is I can take this button, I can hit touch. So whenever I touch this fader, this guy's gonna go on into automation. You'll see it go red, watch. Let's take the SMPTE off because that's quite annoying. So,
Yeah, good idea.
Oh, yeah, brilliant, okay. So if you look here, you're gonna see it, whoa.
Who had a big, who gave birth to many friends with a flashlights to
So like an SSL, now we can play it back, and it's going to play back what I just did.
who had a big, who gave birth
And
to
it moves.
many friends with a flashlights
Actually,
to
magic.
we waited for them to
Oh, I see. So you can go back and like mess with different things that way
Yes.
with the SMPTE.
And
So it doesn't have to be. It could be guitars. It could be the
Yes.
bass. It could be, and you can ride volume. You could ride EQ, whatever you want,
correct.
because you have a SMPTE time code underneath.
Yes.
If you didn't have that, you couldn't. You wouldn't have that luxury.
That's back in the day.
Back in the day.
Nowadays,
now you don't even need the time code.
You don't need the time code because it's spitting out information
Right.
via USB,
That's right.
and then we're in good shape, and it can do that.
Right.
And it plays
And
it
you
back.
don't even need time code if you're going to make a video or edit it or whatever you need. But we needed that back in the day
Yeah.
for video as well.
Yep.
Time code.
But now we're good.
Time travel. Time code.
Would you like to be done for the night?
Well, I
sir?
just want to thank everyone for having me, but especially dealing with Cameron. He's a tough guy. Cameron, you've done a great
It's a
work
pleasure.
here today.
And you've done great
In
work
fact,
too.
I wrote this, Commander, because you're truly the commander behind the console.
Thank you.
You know, that new Spider-Man movie, they made a point that, you know, they like pulled the curtain back on superhero life. There's always a guy in the chair. There's always a guy in the chair. There's the team on the ground, the action, the Spider-Man, the Aquabats, and then there's a guy in the chair, giving them the coordinates, working it all out.
One
The
of
man
one of
behind
cogs.
the man behind the man in the chair.
Yeah.
That's you, Cameron.
Thank you.